Now, I made some simple illustrations to demonstrate the edge of some of these tools. The tracing tools are essentially like chisels. They have an edge that's centered along the shaft, and they may come in various widths or varying degrees of bluntness, but they basically all look like that. The second group of tools are known as butchers, and here the edge is not centered. It's off to the side of the shaft, and falling away from the vertical line then is a radius face of varying degrees of bluntness. I'd estimate that the first pass butcher, which is the sharpest, has approximately a 40-degree angle in my set of tools. The second pass 30, third pass 20 degrees, and the fourth pass butcher is nearly flat, just a 10-degree or so radius, and then that would be followed with a flatter, which is very close to dead flat. And you can see in the blue something about how the effect of the tool works on the sheet metal. The first and second pass butchers don't really have much effect on the backside. They are pushing the background away from the foreground, and by the time you're at the third and fourth pass, you can see at the bottom the effect is starting to show up on the backside of the sheet metal. And that effect is illustrated again in this example. Here we are at the fourth pass butcher stage, and if I turn that over, by the time we're at the fourth pass butcher stage, the pattern is pretty clearly visible on the back side of the sheet. At that point, you can start the repoussé process, which is using the tools on the back side to push the foreground forward. And you work from back to front, until the image becomes more and more developed. And the final stage then would be to planish and blend the background with the foreground in a pleasing manner. Now, this piece probably has 6 or 8 hours of work in it, and it's probably approximately half finished, I would estimate. Well, that sounds like a lot of time. Without the pedal hammer, it would have taken me quite a bit longer. The power and the rapid striking capability of the tool really let me work pretty efficiently. Now, the repeated striking with the tools work hardens the steel. And if you were to continue to work a work hardened area, it would probably develop a crack and split through the material completely. So probably about the stage of the third or fourth pass butcher is a good time to take the piece of work over to the oxyacetylene torch and heat this up to orange and let it air cool and anneal, and softens that area and allow you to continue working and stretching the metal safely. Also, periodically running a cup brush or some sandpaper over the image enhances the intensity of the appearance of the edge and makes it easier to work. In finding references to chasing repoussé work and tool making, I found George Dixon's publications, the Artist Blacksmith, formerly the Traditional Metalsmith Journal, to be very helpful, and also the Hammer's Blow articles, winter of '97 and the fall of '96, have some very nice tool illustrations and I'd refer you to those when you start making your tools. My first tools were just scavenged from various chisels and punches and things that I had around the shop that were already of approximately the right edge characteristic to start playing with these techniques. As I became convinced that I'd do more of the work, I started making some tools out of S7 tool steel using a 5/16 inch round and heating it in the forge, running it through the power hammer with a 1/4 inch stop in place so that it came out with somewhat of an oval shape. And then I formed the edges. The S7 is relatively expensive, and I caught on to the fact through the advice of others that you could go to a shop where they rebuild engines and ask to go through the scrap bin, and they would give me the discarded valves. And I would come home, cut the flare of the valve off and save the shaft, and then again put them in the gas forge and forge them to the profile that I liked and felt comfortable with, somewhat of an oval. I'd, on one session, make a whole bunch of these blanks, and then anytime I need to go make another tool, I can easily grab the blank and run in and finish the edge. Depending on how long the valve was, you can get various degrees of width in terms of how you cut it off. I cut all mine 5 inches long. Again, I have a little gauge like this so I can quickly check and make sure that all of them are going to come out to nominal 5 inches. I don't know what this material is. It's probably not the same in all of them. It does seem to be air hardening, and it holds the edge very nicely, and it's free. Now I illustrate a little bit of the theory of tool making and why you end up with a rack of tools like that have so many in it after starting with just a few. Every different piece of chasing rape safe work you do seems to have a different radius for some reason. And so this is the line that we want to follow, and every tool we've got is either flatter than that or more curved than that. So we've got to make a new tool that has that particular radius. Now, one trick might be to use something like this circle gauge to apply to the line and estimate what that segment of the arc would look